Back in 2019, my wife and I sold everything to go headfirst into real estate investing with the hope of reaching financial independence. And I'm going to tell you exactly why we did it, how we did it, why we chose Bryan-College Station. And then at the end of the video, I'm going to tell you if I have any regrets. All in this episode of Investing in Bryan-College Station, a channel all about how to grow your wealth through real estate in our two favorite towns of Bryan-College Station, Texas, home of Texas A&M. I hope you guys enjoy the episode. Back in 2019, things were pretty sweet. My wife and I had good jobs. I was a pilot in the Marine Corps. My wife ran a gym. We had a great house with a lot of equity. Shoot, we had an investment property in Huntsville, Alabama, and a retirement account with nearly $100,000 in it. Overall, things looked like they were going in the right direction. But I had the itch. I wanted to reach financial independence. I wanted to retire early, FIRE, all through real estate. So we made the decision to make the change. Packed up the car, threw the dog in the truck, and moved from North Carolina back to Texas. We didn't know where we were going to live. So ultimately, we ended up in my mother-in-law's house. In fact, we lived in my wife's brother, I guess that makes him my brother-in-law's, bedroom. We lived there for a few months while we figured out where the hell we were actually going to grow our family and invest. So as we were thinking about it, we wanted a town that wasn't too big. Sprawling metro just wasn't our thing. And we also didn't want a small town. They're super affected by industry changes, businesses leaving the town, things like that. We wanted a town that had an entry point, price point that we could afford. We needed a town that was going to appreciate, that had a growing population. We needed to have a good school district because we would raise a family there. We had to feel comfortable there. Ultimately, we ended up in Bryan-College Station. So Bryan-College Station has a little over 250,000 people, which is a sweet spot. It has a growing population that's almost as strong as Austin, believe it or not. Only 4% less compared to Austin since 2010. It also has an appreciating market. In fact, the appreciation since the 1990s has been just shy of 5%, which crushes the national average. It also has a good renter base. With the school here, there's plenty of students to rent out houses. More than half of the houses here in town are actually renter occupied, and the rent rates are pretty strong, particularly when you compare them to the purchase price, a metric a lot of people use to determine if a house is going to cash flow. We can't talk about Bryan-College Station without talking about the elephant in the room. That, of course, is Texas A&M. It is one of the largest universities with just over 70,000 students enrolled. And behind me is the third largest collegiate stadium in the nation with a total capacity over 102,000. Now, if that's not enough, this is also a university that's wrapped in tradition. Be it the 12th man or that gaudy Aggie ring. Sorry, guys, I'm a Gamecock. It is a little gaudy. For my Aggie viewers,
gaudy, ostentatiously or tastelessly ornamented.
And you earn the right to wear it. And what I love about that is that Aggies will continue to send their children here to earn that ring and get that degree. The last thing that I love about this university and the student body is that the average income of a parent is $130,000. That means that my guarantors have plenty of income to cover any kind of expenses or any kind of damages caused by their wild students after a wild game here in Kyle Field. At this point in the journey, I had sold our house in North Carolina, so we had a little bit of capital plus some savings. We knew we wanted to invest in Bryan-College Station because it's a great town supported by a giant university, otherwise known as Texas A&M. The next thing to do was to find a place to live, and in this case, house hack, which means I was looking for a duplex or a fourplex. That's when I ran across this. It was a very beat up fourplex. Both the property and the landlord had been beat down and were in rough shape from years and years of neglectful tenants. We made a very difficult decision to offer $285,000, which was the highest end of my budget at the time. Keep in mind, I didn't have a full-time job, so I didn't have any income coming in. I needed a co-signer just to buy the place. Well, the offer was accepted and we closed about a month later. And the property was in worse condition than we expected. But we had no other choice but to turn to and upgrade things. We upgraded the exterior and the inside with $60,000 of our hard-earned money and countless hours of blood, sweat, and tears. We started with the vacant units, getting those upgraded and filled with great tenants, and finally we upgraded the one we were living in. By the time we were halfway through 2020, in the middle of COVID, we had 3 full units with 3 great tenants, and they were covering our housing expense, so we were able to live basically for free. At this point, I was getting the itch to find the next investment. What I didn't share with you about Navarro was how tough it really was. We battled unexpected vacancies, tough tenants, rehabs that were harder, took longer, and went over budget, and we even battled cockroaches in our coffee pot. That's right, the place was crawling with cockroaches. But ultimately, after 6 months of grinding it out, we had a great investment on our hands. And I was itching for more. The problem was we didn't have any money. So we looked to our partner, my dad, and the duplex that we owned in Huntsville, Alabama. Now that duplex we purchased for $70,000, and it wasn't one I wanted to hold long term. In fact, I was ready to sell it. We put it on the market, ultimately selling it for $117,000, and we took all those proceeds to buy the duplex you see behind me. This is an 80s built duplex with 3 beds, 2 baths per side here in the heart of College Station. We purchased it in 2020 for $210,000 and then put $25K into it. That $25K got us a new roof, updated exterior, and we even updated one of the units to include flooring, paint, fixtures, new appliances, and new quartz countertops. A lot of that work I did myself. That allowed us to then move in a great tenant at maximum rents. We also were able to retain one of the tenants that was willing to stay along with us, and she's been a great tenant since. At this point in our journey, I had house hacked a fourplex and bought a duplex with a partner here in town, and I was itching to do it again. After buying the duplex on Cypress Street, there was only one thing left to do, and that was to liquidate 10 years worth of savings in my retirement account and use that money to buy some fourplexes. So at this point in time, we were in the middle of COVID, and the CARES Act allowed you to tap into your retirement and minimize the fees that you would pay. So I used that as an excuse to liquidate nearly $80,000 worth of retirement, combine it with my now partner. Yet at this point in time, my dad had the confidence that we could grow our money in real estate. So he put in a chunk of change, I put a chunk of change in, and we bought $1 million worth of fourplexes. We then went about systematizing the management, improving the service to our tenants, and we upgraded the units. That includes converting the fourplex behind me into a little mini hotel. That's right, all 4 units are now run as an Airbnb. This is our best investment yet, and it's all because we were willing to burn that last boat and go all in on real estate. So was it worth it? Here's the real answer. I just don't know. I can't go back to 2019 and change the decision that we made. I do know that since then, over the last 5 years, it's been a complete roller coaster ride. There's been highs and there's been lows. We faced a lot of challenges and a lot of adversity. I moved in first with my mother-in-law. Then we moved in to a cockroach-infested apartment. We had renovations go over budget, take longer than expected. We battled COVID. We had tenants skip on us, not pay us rent. We even had to evict a tenant. We strained not just our finances to the brink, but also our relationship. Ultimately, though, I think that we came out stronger. I know my relationship with my wife is stronger. I feel that I'm stronger as a result of the challenges we've gone through. And I know for a fact that my financial position is stronger now than it's ever been. So if you're willing to take on those challenges, if you want to invest in Bryan and College Station like we did, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is in the details below, and I will share with you everything I have learned in hopes that you can do the same, maybe without the cockroaches. Till next time, you guys take it easy.